No matter what we do in life, it seems like getting started is always the hardest part. Have you ever had a conversation and tried to move it to spiritual things and it got awkward? I want to help you smoothly move into sharing the gospel. So there's a transition there. Here's the most important part of that. Learn to listen and let people share with you before you try to share with them. Let them talk. You know, you don't have to be a great, perfect conversationalist. I want you to keep this in your mind. There's a simple little acrostic that will help you with this. The word firm. F-I-R-M. Now the F stands for family. So when you're going to have a conversation with someone and you know ultimately you're going to move it to the gospel, start with a neutral topic like family. Many times all you have to do is say, so tell me about your family. And there goes the next 20 minutes because they like talking about family. And that helps them feel comfortable. You're investing in them by listening. And then the I stands for interest. Maybe in that conversation it's easier for you to say, so what kind of things are you interested in? What do you like to do? And as they tell you, you can relate that to your life. Maybe you both love to ride bikes. It's awesome. And let them talk about that. And as you all talk, again, their defenses are just being lowered and they're being more and more comfortable with you. And then we want to turn a corner. The R in the word firm stands for religious background. And I know that we just talked about the fact that we're not pushing religion. We're not about religion. But it is good as a bridge to just say, so have you ever been to any particular church? And when you just let that lay, and if the answer's no, not at all, then that's no problem. You can move right on. You can say, well, that's another thing in my life. I just really enjoy my church. And in fact, you're going to move now to the M, F-I-R-M, and the M stands for my story. So you've listened, and now you're going to tell, here's my story. And so you could say something like this. Listen, in my life, I got to a point to where I knew there just had to be more to life than like accumulating stuff. There had to be more than this. And I started asking some questions. I started kind of wondering, what happens if I die? And someone asked me a couple of questions. And those questions really helped me to define where I was in my relationship to God. And I'd like to ask you those questions. So at this point, I want to stop and teach you those two questions. In the next session, we're going to teach you a simple, powerful tool for sharing the gospel. But right here, I want to focus on how to get you transitioned into a gospel conversation. And so right here, the question number one you're going to ask is this. So the question someone asked me was, how sure are you that if something happened to you, that you would immediately be with God in heaven? How sure? Would you say you're 50% sure or 100% sure? Or what would you say? And when you ask this question, memorize the question, learn to say it that way, and then let it lay there. Let them put a number on it. I've just had tremendous experience. I'll never forget a doctor who was a college football team doctor who came to me, and I asked him that question, and he said, 98% sure. I'm 98% sure I'd go to heaven. No one had ever said that to me. But you know, my reply was easy. You know, that 2% that's left is huge when it deals with eternity. So the first question is just, how sure are they? And then the second question is much more diagnostic in nature. This question goes like this. Suppose you and I were standing at the gate to heaven, and God asked, why should I let you come in? What do you think you might say? Again, do not rescue them. Do not give in to the temptation to talk. Just let it lay there and let them think. The reason this question is so important is the same reason that when you go to the doctor asks you questions until he's able to diagnose your problem. We're going to need to find out where this person is with God. And the answer to that question, what would you say to God about why you should get into heaven, tells us what that person is currently trusting in at that moment for their eternal life. You know, I've heard people be critical, and they're like, you've got these questions, and they're kind of old questions, and they've been used, and all this. Listen, here's what I would say. My favorite proverb is this: man who says it can't be done should not get in the way of man who is doing it. So this is a proven way of moving into the gospel, of helping you determine where this person is. If the answer to that question is, I would say to God that I can only enter through Jesus Christ, who died for me, who gave his life, and I trusted him, great. But anything short of that, which is what we normally get, I'm a good person, I've tried really hard, I've gone to church, I've been baptized, those things let you know that person's trusting in works. And so we desperately need to help them understand grace. So this is a way of transitioning from a normal, neutral conversation and turning it to be a spiritual conversation. So in our next session, we're going to show you a simple, powerful tool, but we want you to know how to smoothly transition a neutral conversation into spiritual things. And it'll be seamless from there to share the important points of the gospel.